Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Miss Bailey here. Hi, everybody. Hello. Thank you for joining us. I am here with the rest of the second grade teachers, so we'll just kind of wave and say hi. Just a little housekeeping things before we do that. Please make sure that you are muted. We have over 30 families on us right now, and I promise you don't want anyone to hear what you're probably saying. And I'm also recording this meet. So if there are any families that had children in lots of different grade levels, they can watch this later. So I just want you to know that this is being recorded and a lot of people can hear you. So make sure you are muted. That would be awesome. So we'll just do quick introductions and then we'll get started. I'm Mrs. Bailey, a second grade teacher. I'm Mrs. Hoyle, second grade teacher. I'm Miss Lloyd, second grade teacher. I'm Miss Fox, a second grade teacher. Okay, so let's get started. So the purpose of this meeting is to talk about what is expected from your child at the end of second grade. So looking at the presentation, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start off with reading requirements. At the end of second grade, the fluency level is to be able to read 87 words per minute. So if a child reads accurately, we time them for 1 minute. And after 1 minute, you mark where they've stopped. And if they made a mistake in a word, that word is taken out of the word count. So it's just how many words they've read accurately and fluently. We do running records about once a month with your kids to make sure that their fluency is increasing. And I think growth is a very important word for this year. This year has been unlike no other. And so even though if your child has not met that grade level expectation yet, it's really important to look at, has your child made a year's worth of growth? So because they missed part of first grade at the end of the year, and then our year, the way it's been virtual, then in person, then virtual, then in person, I think it's really important to look at the growth of the child. One of the other things that's also very important when it comes to their reading fluency, not only is that they can read it fluently, but that they can understand it. So a lot of times, first graders and second graders, they're closing that gap and they can read fluently, but they haven't quite caught up with their comprehension yet. So one of the things we also do after your child reads the passage is ask them to retell the story from the beginning to the end with as much detail as they can. So that helps us understand not only are they reading accurately and fluently, but they can also retell the story, that they're understanding it and comprehending it. A couple years ago, there was someone from the county that brought us some very interesting research that I always really like to share with our second grade parents at the end of the year before you become third grade parents. And that is, they found a correlation that if a child can read 100 words per minute or more at the end of second grade, that their chances of passing the beginning of year test in third grade went up exponentially. So even though 87 is our goal for second graders to read that fluently, it would be even better if your child could reach that 100 word per minute goal, because that means that they are reading fluently, accurately, and they're going to be able to tackle those third grade texts right from the get-go, right from the beginning of the year. So one of the things you can do with your child is have them not only just read a book, but have them reread. It's probably the most simple strategy that most people could do and don't even realize it, that would really increase your child's reading fluency, especially this summer, to keep them moving in the right direction, is to have them reread. It could be a book, it could be a passage, it could be something you see on the internet. Because rereading is going to increase their ability to decode those bigger words and take a lot of the sight words and put them in their working memory, so they won't have to keep doing that. So that's kind of two big chunks that we would like to see at the end of second grade for reading. We also have a whole nother chunk of comprehension skills. And this is really where those third grade teachers talk to us as second grade teachers. And you'll hear from them here in a little bit as well. But some of the skills that third grade teachers really want to see that we are really making sure that your children can do now at the end of the year is understanding main idea and details, understand how stories are sequenced, and that includes fiction and nonfiction text, that they can answer questions with support from the text, that they can compare two texts. So let's say you have two texts about sharks and looking at what facts are in both texts, or if this fact tells me about shark teeth, but this text doesn't. So comparing two different texts. And vocabulary is huge. And that is something we are just now really diving into, is having those kids try to understand unknown words through context clues. So I've given you a couple examples, and I want to show you what that looks like in question form that your kids are getting used to now here at the end of second grade, that we are trying to get them to see multiple choice questions and what kind of strategies and skills they would need to solve those. So here's a couple examples. This is a main idea question. They say, what is this article mostly about? Think about the skills your child would have to be able to do to solve that. They need to read it all fluently. They need to understand the entire text. And then they have to be able to take everything they've learned and squish it into just one part to be able to find the main idea. Here's another one. This is a text to evidence question. So basically, they're asking the student to go right in the text to find the answer. It says, one of Dave's teachers did not like his comics. Which words from the article show this is true? So think about the skills this one has. They have to be able to read all the answer choices and decide which one proves that point. Lots of thinking involved. Here's another one that they would have to infer. So they have to take all the details they've read and then make an inference, kind of like a really smart guess based on their clues that they would have to be able to do as well. Why did Dave decide to write Captain Underpants books as an adult? Here's an example of a text-specific vocabulary word. They're just asking, what is a geode? Well, guess what? The author told the readers what a geode was in the text. So it's not, oh my gosh, my child doesn't know what a geode is. That's okay. They just have to be able to read what a geode is to find this answer. But there are also vocabulary questions where they are going to have to do some inferencing and based on some of their knowledge they have. So this one says, what do you think inspired means? So not only do they have to read, they have to comprehend. One of the things we as teachers are trying to do right now at the end of second grade is having them show their proof and not just being like, oh, I know the answer. Well, that's great. Show me how you know. Underline the proof from the text. Show me that's where you found the answer to number 2. So you can see in this example, this child has found the answer to number 2 and the answer to number 4. So they are going to be so confident in that answer. A lot of times, if they are right or wrong, we just say, show me. How do you know? Show me in the text. So we're trying to teach them a lot of these strategies and skills to be able to tackle all these types of problems in that context. All right, now I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Hoyle, and she's going to talk to you guys about math. For anyone that's just joined us, make sure you have put your child's name in the chat bar so we have that for attendance. Here's Ms. Hoyle for math.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bailey. I'm going to talk to you guys about second grade math requirements, what your child should know by the end of second grade. So one of the biggest things that they should be proficient in is fluency with one-digit addition and subtraction. So a few months ago in second grade, we started Reflex, and I'm sure your child has talked about it before or done it at home, but Reflex is a program that they can actually practice their fast facts on. And that has really helped them tremendously, and they'll continue to use that program into third grade. But that would be a great program for them to even practice this summer just to become really fluent in one-digit addition and subtraction, because in third grade, they are going to be using the algorithm to solve 3-digit addition and subtraction problems. So if their one-digit addition and subtraction is not fluent, then they're really going to struggle with the 3-digit in third grade. So in second grade, we have also been adding and subtracting 3-digit numbers. We have been practicing different strategies, and now we're at the point where we have introduced them to the algorithm. So like the regular way that you have learned growing up, we are able to move to that part now. So they have also been doing word problems all year. We do word problems every single day. And I'm going to show you in a minute what the word problems look like and the way that we teach the different types of word problems. We also have been doing arrays and repeated addition equations, and that goes right along into multiplication. We've learned money this year, comparing numbers, and we've also learned measurement, just measuring lines, comparing measurements. Comparing measurements tends to be the biggest struggle with measurement because, if we say how much longer is this line than this line, a lot of times the students will add the lines together instead of subtract. So comparing is a big thing for measurement. And this week we started learning fractions. We're only teaching halves, thirds, and fourths, but fractions will be a big thing in third grade as well. So I'm going to show you the chart that we have taught the students in second grade to recognize the different word problems and know what to do when they see that word problem. So we have learned action problems. And so action problems are going to be like when an action happens in the problem and it has the word sum in the problem. And then they have to decide when they write their equation if the mystery number is a big number or a little number. So that is one type of problem. And then we also have compare problems. And we have taught the students to make a list when they see a compare problem, which means they'll list out like if one student has more than the other student. So they'll write who has more, who has less, and whatever they're trying to find, that's going to tell them whether to add or subtract. So if one student has more and they're looking for that student, then they know to add. So this is kind of the chart that we use. And I think all the students should have gotten this little chart in their virtual bags back in January. So you may still have this laying around, but it's really helpful for the students to know what to do in a word problem. So I'm going to show you some examples of different math problems that we've done. The example on the left is an example of an action problem where they would write an equation. It has the word sum, so they're trying to find the missing number, and they would just have to decide whether to add or subtract. And then the one on the right is an example of a compare problem where they would write a list, and then based on who has more, who has less, they can decide whether to add or subtract. Here's some other example problems. For measurement, we learned the different types of measurements, so yards, feet, centimeters, inches, meters, and then they have to decide which one they should use to measure that object. Skip counting has been huge in second grade, and I finally feel like we're at the point where they're becoming more fluent in skip counting. So we've been doing counting by fives, counting by tens, counting by hundreds, and that's been something that we've done all year. So they'll definitely need that skill in third grade. We have also learned graphing this year, and we've done bar graphs and trying to compare the data and what we can learn from the data. And then this year in second grade, they also have learned how to represent numbers. So base 10 blocks, word form, place value, all of that. And being able to add or subtract 110. And just really in second grade, it's more about the fluency, being able to just know what a number plus 10 is, minus 100 plus 100, just being fluent with that because they'll need all those skills into third grade. And then there's an example also of money, and they have practiced how to count money. So those are all of the math examples that they should know by the end of second grade. And Miss Loy is going to talk about writing.
All right, writing requirements. So by the end of second grade, we want our students to be able to write in full, complete, detailed sentences. We sometimes call them spicy sentences. And what that means is that they are, for example, they're not writing the dog barked, right? I always tell my kids, that's boring. Tell me more. What did he bark at? Where did he bark? Why did he bark? And things like that. So, we want them to say things like the dog barked at the cat as it ran up the tree. So we just want more from them in their sentences and really give us more details. We are expecting them to write 8 to 10 sentences in a paragraph form that include capital letters at the start of every sentence, of course, proper punctuation, and sentences that make sense. Throughout the year, we've been working on opinion writing, we've been working on informational writing, and in this last quarter, they're going to be working on narrative writing, so telling a story. And that's where these skills really come in handy with the detailed sentences. We are working on skills such as show me, don't just tell me. Right? We want those really great storytelling skills and getting those detailed sentences from the kids. So I'm going to show you what 2 examples would be of paragraph form. And, these students they write their sentences in paragraphs. They use proper punctuation after every sentence, and they have a capital letter at the start of every sentence. Now, spelling is, we always have the rule, if you can see it, you can spell it. So depending on if they can see the word, we expect them to be able to spell it correctly. But if it's an unknown word, we expect them to spell it to the best of their ability. But if they are looking at a book and they're copying information from that book, they should be able to spell it correctly. But capitals and proper punctuation and detailed sentences are things that we are really expecting from them in this last quarter. And we are moving into narrative writing, like I said, in this last quarter. So they will be telling us amazing stories that we hope are full of details. And then I'm also going to talk to you about iReady. iReady is something that you are pretty familiar with. It's another piece of the puzzle. And you guys already know this. It's an individualized instruction. They take those diagnostic tests in the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and at the end of the year. And they are lessons geared toward your child and their exact needs. It fills in those gaps that, they are missing in certain areas, math and reading. So it really helps fulfill those gaps so that they, in their everyday instruction, are more successful. Grade level ranges for reading and math, it goes from kindergarten to higher than 2nd grade. And then we track their individual growth in areas and domains. We have our end of year diagnostic coming up. We are taking the math one, correct? Next week on Monday. And so we are gearing the kids ready. We're getting our last bit of math skills taught so that they are fully prepared for that diagnostic next Monday. And, every teacher, we put iReady in our centers during small group time, and we give them that time to get that iReady time done. And they have to have 45 minutes by the end of the week. And I know that a lot of kids, they like to take it upon themselves to take their Chromebooks home and get their iReady time done at home because they want to be done by Friday, which is fine. They're, that's what they want to do. They can do that. So we are really, that 45-minute mark is really important to make sure that they are, following their lessons and getting good scores. We are always encouraging the kids to try their best on those lessons. If we see students failing a lesson for some reason, maybe they just weren't paying attention or they weren't understanding that skill or they were having a bad day, we can go back and we can reassign that assignment to them, and we'll pull them aside and talk to them about it and say, hey, I noticed that on this lesson you struggled. What was going on? So it really is that individualized instruction for them and fills those gaps that maybe we cannot get to them and helps build those skills. And Miss Fox is going to talk to you about report cards.
Hello. So I'm going to be discussing report cards with you tonight. And one of the things that we've been working on this quarter is sending home papers that have grades on them. And the whole point is to try to get them ready for next year, so that way they're aware of their grading system next year. We will still be using the 1, 2, 3, 4 method to score them on their report card, but we did just want to make them aware of what it will look like next year. And it has been eye-opening to some of the kids in my class that if you only have 6 questions, you really do have to look back in the text, or you really have to go back and work it twice to be able to figure it out, or use your base 10 blocks. They also have been working on slowing down to be sure that they get the score that they want. And then they'll ask to go back and look at it, so that way that they're able to redo their work if they're aware of their grades. So it's been kind of an eye-opener for them as well. But we will still, whenever you see the report cards coming home, it will still be a 1. If it's a 1, it means that they're making minimal progress in that area. If it's a 2, it's inconsistent. One day they may be able to do it independently, but then the next day they cannot do it independently. 3 means that if we give it to them at any time, they can do it independently by themselves. And 4, you probably will not expect to see quite a few 4s this year, because that means they're working above grade level. They haven't mastered just the standards for 2nd grade. They're working on mastering standards for 3rd grade. So that would be what that would look like on the report card. The goal by the end of the year is definitely a 3. So I know whenever we started in the beginning of the year, you would see blanks or missing spots in areas, and it's because we hadn't taught it at the time. But now everything has been taught to completion, so that way you can use that report card at the end of the year to help guide your student through the summer to help get them ready for 3rd grade. So if you're looking and they're lower in an area of decoding, that might be an area that you want to focus on. If they're lower in an area of fluency, that could be an area that you could work on. So that'll just help guide you. So at this point, that report card could really help you prepare them in the summer for next year. Midterms are going home this Thursday, so that will help you with getting them ready for those end of the year report cards as well. Summer school is going to be offered this year. It will be by invitation only, but if you do feel like it's the benefit for your child, you can contact your child's teacher, and if there's spaces open that are available, they may get an invitation. If you feel like it was something that would benefit your child, it will be providing instructional support for reading and for math, and there will also be enrichment opportunities where they'll be going to specials like they do here, art and music and PE. So it'll be a full day, unlike in the past, it's only been a half a day. But this will be Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4. For the students, I believe it's just till 3, but those will be the hours that they'll be available. Buses will provide transportation, and they will also provide breakfast and lunch. So you will not have to worry about any of those things. They will take the week of the 4th off, and then they will return. So it will be pretty much most of the summer long. They'll go for 14 days, then they'll take the week of the 5th off, and then they'll come back, and it'll end up at the end of July. So like I said, if that's a program that you're interested in, it will be by invitation only, and depending on the numbers, if you would like to talk to your child's teacher about it, you can contact your child's teacher and see if there will be space available. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Bailey.
Awesome, everybody. Well, can I just say high five to all of you guys? We as teachers were a little hesitant about having a virtual parent meeting, wondering how it would go, but I really appreciate all of you taking a time to join us tonight. I hope it just helped a little bit kind of conclude this crazy year that we've had. So don't log off yet, because our 3rd grade teachers are going to be logging on here in the next couple minutes. You don't have to do a thing. You just sit there and hang out. Make sure you stay on mute. And the 3rd grade teachers are going to be coming on and presenting to you and talking about what the beginning of next year is going to look like for you. So let me stop that there so you can see just me. There we go. So thank you all for joining. If you haven't already, please make sure you put your child's name in the chat bar so we can let Dr. Wilson see how many 2nd grade parents showed up to the meeting. Maybe we'll have the most of all the grade levels. It's not a competition, but maybe. So thank you so much. And like I said, don't go anywhere. The 3rd grade teachers will be popping on in just a minute. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Look at my sweet kiddos. Hi, kids. I get to see your whole face because you don't have a mask on. Say hi.
Hi, Miss Bailey.
Hi. See y'all later. Hi.
Hi, I'm gonna go back to doing chores.
Okay, that's awesome. Everybody go do some chores while you're waiting on the third grade teachers. All right, see you in a little bit. Don't go anywhere. Wait for the third grade teachers.
Hello, who's ready for some third grade? Woo! I see a little bit of excitement there. All right, hi, I'm Mrs. Mann. Thumbs up or head nod, big smile if you can hear me. Are we good on this end? Awesome. Hi. See little babies waving. This is exciting. All right. Well, hello. I'm Mrs. Mann. I'm going to get us started with the third grade portion of this readiness meeting. So hopefully we're going to see you all and your fabulous children in August. So let's talk about some things that you need to know about I was going to say the best grade level in the school, but but you need to finish out second grade first, and then and then we'll call it the best grade level. All right, so it's coming. All right, it tells me it's presenting. Hopefully you can see it now. All right, so welcome. We are the third grade team of teachers. We have a picture of ourselves here to show you. Maybe it's loading. We've got a lot of people in this meet. This is great. Here we go. All right, so starting from left to right, we have Mrs. Martins here on the far left, also known as Mrs. Davis, come this fall after she gets married. We're excited for her. Beside Mrs. Martins, we have Miss Jenkins, Miss Wilhelm, Miss Steinhardt, and then myself, Mrs. Mann, on the end. So let's start off by making this a positive transition. Third grade, as you know, is a big year. Perhaps you've had siblings come through this grade level, or maybe it's your first time to third grade, but it is a huge year for students all across the board. Of course, EOGs and testing is big and new to students in third grade, as well as academic letter grades. So we'll talk more about that later, but for right now, we just want you to know that being positive, the teachers, the parents, the students, with their positive attitudes are what will help your child to be successful next year. So one thing that we ask is just that you make them excited, especially in the past year that we've had. It's, kind of been all over the place. So we're excited to start off more normal next year in August. And we just would appreciate your partnership and positivity to get your child started, just to hype them up for a great school year. No matter what they've heard about third grade in the past, let's just start on a clean slate and make it a great year, regardless of all the testing and things like that we have to talk about. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Martins, and she's going to tell you how you can prepare for us.
Okay, hi, I'm Miss Martins, but if you see Miss Davis on your child's next year teacher form, it's me. So things that you can do to prepare your child for third grade, not second grade, you're already in second grade, good job, would be to be fluent in your addition and subtraction fast facts, up to 20. So you can do this by having flashcards with like 1 + 1, 4 + 3. This just helps students to be able to do higher level problems later without having to work out those smaller problems. So like when we get into 3-digit addition and subtraction, they're not sitting here working out just one of the digits. They can do all 3 of them really quickly and find the final answer. You can use Reflex this summer, which is a great program, and we all use it daily in our classrooms. I don't know if second grade uses it. And so then you can still use your second grade username and get that from your teacher before we go home for the summer, and just use it every day. The goal is to get at least 3 green lights a week to help keep that proficiency and help them grow in their fluency. Another thing to do is read. At least 20 minutes a day is proven to help your child tremendously. So continue to read. You can use websites like Epic. It is a free online library where your child can just explore all kinds of books. Some of them will read to them. Some of them are graphic novels. It's just a really cool place to explore for them for reading. You can also check out our county library, and your child actually has a membership to the county library through their student ID. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to your child's teacher, or if they have no idea, just have them ask me and I can help them figure that out too. So I'm going to hand it over for the fun stuff, which is more about testing. We're going to be taking benchmarks and check-ins and EOGs and all that stuff. So Miss Steinhardt is actually going to tell you and educate you and hopefully help you learn more about that.
Okay, hi, I'm Mrs. Steinhardt. For those of you, I'm going to turn it so that I can see y'all. For those of you who do not know me, I am here to talk about testing. I feel like when students come to 3rd grade, parents are the most anxious about standardized testing. If you've had a 3rd grader in the past, you know that this is the first year that they take benchmarks and EOGs, and it can be a very overwhelming thing. So we will take, they used to call them benchmarks, they're called check-ins now. We will take 3 check-ins in both reading and math throughout the year. So what happens is at the end of every 9 weeks, your child will take a check-in in both reading and math. They are much shorter than an EOG. They're usually around 20 questions, but they are supposed to resemble EOG style questions. The check-ins are not cumulative. So in the first 9 weeks, they will only see questions on things that were taught in the first 9 weeks. In the second 9 weeks, it would only be things that were taught in the second 9 weeks. It would not be first 9 weeks and second 9 weeks. The scores are supposed to be indicative of future EOG scores. So for example, if your child is scoring in the high 60s, the 70s, the 80s, we would feel very confident telling you that at the end of the year, we are fairly certain that they would pass the EOG. If your child is possibly scoring in the 20s or 30s, that would let us know that we have a lot of work to do before the end of May. So the EOG is the cumulative test at the very end. We take 2 of those. We take an EOG in reading and in math. And that test is the lengthiest test that your child will be asked to take. It's usually about 45 questions, and your child has 3 hours to work on them. One of the big things to note, though, is that we spend the entire year preparing your child. We do not teach to the test at Clear Creek. You know, we teach curriculum. We teach your children standards. And I always tell my kids, if you come to school every day to learn, I don't have to worry about what happens on May 26th because it will work itself out. Students who are engaged and are being what I call active learners, they have no need to worry. The EOG is just another day for them to show what they know. Students who do not pass the EOG will come to summer school. So your child may have participated in summer school or summer camp, maybe after 1st grade, or your child might be invited to come this summer. It's the same thing. So 3rd graders come as well. The biggest difference is that at the end of summer school for 3rd graders, they will take a modified EOG in attempts to show mastery of the standards. I'm sorry, I saw someone raise your hand. If you want to come off of mute, if you whoever raised their hand, if you have a question, or that wasn't an accident. Does somebody have a question? No. Okay, so anyway, so at the end of the summer school period, your child will be able to retake a modified EOG in hopes to show mastery at the very end. So that's a lot about testing. I'm going to pass it off to talk about the everyday grades in third grade. There you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ms. Wilhelm, and I'm another third grade teacher. I'm going to talk a little bit about the grades and the change in the grading scale that you will see as your child enters third grade. So kindergarten through second grade, you've received mostly standards-based grading on a scale of 1, 2, 3. Your child's teacher is given a lot of verbal feedback, and that continues into third grade, but we move from that 1, 2, 3 scale over to a 10-point grading scale. So students receive grades in all subjects, including citizenship. And our scale is as follows. You can see A would be 90 to 100, B in the 80s, C 70 to 79, D, and F 59 and below. So generally, we consider proficient to be C or above. And students will have numerous opportunities throughout each quarter to show proficiency, to build up an average that's reflective of their progress and their learning. And it's not going to be just like one big grade at the end that, is one test, one project. So you will receive quarterly report cards, as well as different, feedback from your teacher at different points. But just kind of being aware that these grades, it is a different way of getting feedback. And for some students, they might not understand when I'm scoring a B, that's good versus, a D or an F. So just kind of making sure that your student is understanding that, that's important. But grades, it does from this point moving forward, rely on that 10-point scale, and it starts here in third grade. So I'm going to now move on over to the transition from learning to read to reading to learn.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to do like this. Hopefully you can still see the slide because I want to see you. Hi, my name is Mrs. Jenkins, and I also teach third grade here, which is why I'm on this meet with you. So you have heard a lot from us. I'm sure it was a lot of information to take in. We're going to remind you of it when third grade starts in the fall. So don't feel overwhelmed. And honestly, I think that's our biggest goal. We are fully aware that you're sending us your 8 and 9-year-old babies. We are fully aware that this is a huge transitional year for them. So please know that it is not our goal to stress them out or to push them to any kind of anxiety or anything about this. We are really dedicated to what we do. We really want to make sure that they are learning in a comfortable environment. And like Ms. Steinhardt said, if they're coming every day and they're doing their best and they're trying and they're paying attention, we don't have to worry about that test on May 26th because they're going to be on the right track throughout the year. So the biggest shift, I would say, in instruction for us is up until this point, they've been learning how to read. They've been learning different strategies and skills on how to figure out words, how to, build their fluency while they're reading. Where this year we are shifting to not focusing on how to read, but now how do you understand what you're reading? Can you answer questions about it? Can you think deeply about it? I would encourage you while they're reading to you this summer, have them do that, have them read to you, but also ask them questions. And we like to go past just the who and what. In third grade, we really like to think about the why and how questions. And why did a character do this? Well, how did they do this? What led to this? And those are just questions that get them to thinking, even if they can't answer it completely, every time, at least they're getting those, that part of their brain moving and they're ready for us when they come here. And the last thing is, we really push independence in third grade. So obviously we don't start on day one saying, hey, you have to know how to do all this by yourself. But we really do push we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to do it together. But the goal is for you to do it on your own.
We call it the I do, we do, you must do. But it's really something we push, and it's something that if you're on board with us and you're also supporting that independence and encouraging them to be independent and to do things on their own, it makes it seamless. And we both benefit from that because they're being more independent at home and here at school as well. So that's academically, that's also, staying organized, keeping track of things. But like I said, we start kind of slowly, what we call gradual release. There's a lot of support to start with, and we slowly release them to do things on their own. But we are just about wrapped up. That's all I have. Does anyone have any questions you want to ask any of us? We'll be happy to help. Try and answer those at least. There's 5 of us who can. If you do, you can come off mute. If you don't, that is all we have to share for tonight. We'll see. Anybody? Oh, I think I see a question. If you want to come off mute and ask it, you're welcome to do that.
Miss Jenkins, how
Yeah.
do we put my name in?
Oh, okay. You know what? I think I can type it in for you. Myra Calva, is that right? Who's your teacher?
My teacher's Miss Lloyd.
Okay, I typed it in for you, so you don't have to worry about it, okay?
Okay. Thank
Awesome.
you.
You're so welcome. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Our 3rd grade teachers rock.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. We can't wait to see your sweet kiddos in the fall. Well, in our classrooms. We're going to see them right now anyway, but we can't wait to have them in our classes starting this fall. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, 3rd grade teachers. One more last reminder, my parents and kiddos, if you haven't put your name in the chat bar, please do that now before we end the recording. Thank you for giving us your time that we could safely meet and do our end of year expectations with you as 2nd grade. And then you got to see our awesome 3rd grade team as well. So I hope you guys have a fantastic night. If you have any questions or concerns about anything, you're welcome to contact your child's teacher to talk more about it further. But I think that's all. So good night. Goodbye. Kids, go do your chores and go to bed so you can get up early and come back to school in the morning. All right. All right. Yes, Benjamin, you too. I see you shaking your head. You better go to bed. Yes, sir. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. See ya. Good night. See you in the morning.